Welcome to How to Stay Safe Online. My name is Megan Haldane and I'm a Cyber Protect Officer for Avon and Somerset Police. As we spend more time online, it's incredibly important that we consider how we do this safely. You wouldn't leave your house and leave your front door unlocked, so why don't we apply the same logic to our online world? We're going to be looking at 6 top tips that you can use to keep yourself safe online and to protect yourself from email and account hacking. First, create a strong password. Use 3 random words to create a strong password that won't be compromised. Often we go to use information that we remember, such as our pet's name or our children's name. But unfortunately, this information is readily available online on social media. However, if we use 3 random words, we can create a long, strong, complicated password that won't be guessed. And we can add in special characters and numbers to make it even better. Secondly, use different passwords for each account. So once you've created that long, strong, complicated password, it's important that you don't use it again and again and again. Your email account is the gateway to all of your other accounts. Cybercriminals will look to target your email account first with the intention of locking you out of all of your other accounts. And to do this, all they need to do is reset your passwords using a reset link, which is available via your email account. So with this in mind, make sure your email account is one of the longest, strongest, best passwords you have, and create a priority list for all of your other accounts, and go through and slowly change them so that they are all completely different. Don't get stuck in the trap of just changing 1 or 2 letters or 1 or 2 numbers. They need to be very distinctly different. But how do we remember them? We can use a password manager to remember all of our passwords for us. In its simplest format, this is saving it in the browser of whatever internet provider you are using. So that could be Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, just as a few examples. This is much safer than reusing the same password over and over again. The next option is to use your password manager. Now this is an app that you can download onto your smartphone, your laptop, your tablet or your computer, and it will store all of your passwords for you in a database. And if you use this effectively, all you need to do is remember that one password. In addition to this, you may have a password manager in your pocket without realizing. Lots of modern smartphones, such as iPhones, have built-in password managers that require your facial recognition or fingerprint recognition to access. So you've probably got one and you're not using it without realizing. Tip number 4 is to turn on 2-step verification. Now this will keep your account safe even if someone knows your password, because it requires 2 things. The first thing is your password. Now you know your password, and maybe a cybercriminal operating in an overseas country also knows your password. So you both try and access your account and you both go through the first step. However, the second step is something that you have. If you've got this turned on, the provider will say at this second step, hang on, we are going to check and make sure you are who you say you are. We're going to text you a code, normally 4 or 6 digits, to your mobile number, and you need to provide us with that code. Now that's great for you because you have your phone in your hand. There's something that you have. However, the cybercriminal that, as I said, is likely operating in an overseas country will never have your phone in their hand. So they will never be able to bypass that second step. So 2-step verification is incredibly important by adding that extra level of security that will keep your online accounts safe. Tip number 5, automatic updates. When a provider releases an update, they have found a flaw or a fault within their system, a vulnerability, if you like. They say, don't worry, we have fixed it. Here is the update. Here is the patch. That's great if you take that automatically or as soon as you can, because your system is up to date again and as secure as it can be. However, if you don't, you've potentially got a system that is unsafe, that is vulnerable to cybercriminals. Because what happens is when they released that update, they essentially held this red flag over it saying there was a hole, there was a vulnerability. And cybercriminals will be looking for that hole or vulnerability to exploit for malicious intent. So with that in mind, turn on automatic updates or carry them on out at the next available opportunity. Top tip number 6 is to turn on regular backups. Now you're probably thinking, how will this stop me from being targeted by cybercriminals? And in truth, it won't, but it will act as an insurance policy. If you should end up being attacked by a cybercriminal, they may leave you with a device that has been completely wiped or completely cleaned. And think about all the stuff that you have on your devices. Photos, important documents, videos, all sorts. If you're left with a completely wiped device, that's all gone. And often that impact alone can be more devastating than any financial loss. So I encourage you to follow the 3-2-1 rule, which is to have your data and important stuff in 3 places. That could be 2 local, such as your laptop, your computer, your phone, a hard drive, even a memory stick, and 1 remote. So that would be a cloud-based system. If 3 is too much for you, then just at least have it somewhere else. Hopefully you'll only ever need it if you get a new phone or if it gets stuck in the washing machine. But just in case, it's better to have it there in case you need it. What is phishing? Phishing is when a fraudster attempts to trick their victim into doing the wrong thing for a desired outcome or purpose. And it's there for a number of reasons, unfortunately. This could be to gain your personal information, to gain your banking information, to gain your login credentials, or to download malicious software onto your device. And we see lots of different versions of phishing and lots of different attempts, and they constantly change. So how do we spot them? There are a few key indicators that we can look for. The first one is authority. Quite often, cybercriminals will pose as someone in a position of authority or an organisation of authority. So take a step back and think, how likely are you to receive communication from that person or individual? And should we check with them directly as to whether we've received that communication from them? The next is urgency. They will quite often give you some kind of deadline. This could be you've got 2 hours to respond before you lose all your money. You've got 24 hours to respond before we release images of you. Or it could go the other way and say you've got an hour to respond before you lose access to a prize or tickets or something that you're, very after. The idea here is that they're trying to get you to panic and rush your decision. Allow yourself time to consider what is being asked of you and whether it's reasonable and rational. The next is emotion. These criminals will be trying to get some kind of emotion from you. That could be fear, panic, you could be frightened, or you could be curious and intrigued and just want to see what will happen. Scarcity. The criminals will say there is a limited availability of something. And again, this is designed to get you to rush your decision and to act quickly. An example of this is ticketing fraud. They might say there's a limited availability of a certain artist's concert tickets. And because you're a loyal fan, you've got first access. Can you see here how they're trying to panic you and rush you into making a decision without thinking about what's being asked of you? And the last one is current events. Think about what's going on in the world at the time and think about what's being asked of you and if it is a bit too relevant. The biggest example of this was COVID. Unfortunately, we saw a huge increase in people receiving text messages claiming that they'd been in contact and they needed to test and trace, or that it was their turn for a vaccine. Another example is at the end of the financial year, every year, we see an increase in you've paid too much tax, or you've not paid enough tax. And these are very successful, unfortunately, because they are very relevant to what is going on in the world at the time. Where can we report these phishing attempts? If you're suspicious of an email, you can forward it to report@fishin.gov.uk. Now this sends it to the National Cyber Security Centre. They look to investigate where this email has come from, any websites used, telephone numbers, banking information, etc. And if they can identify that that is being used by criminals to commit crime, they will take it down and stop it from being used or communicate with partner agencies. Now this is great for two reasons. First of all, it disrupts the criminals and makes it harder for them to commit crime using those methods. But second of all, it helps to save thousands and thousands of victims. One website being taken down could safeguard a lot of people, and it means that we're doing our part as part of the wider community to prevent cybercrime. If you're suspicious of a text message, you can report it to 7726. This sends it back to the network provider, who again will look to investigate where that message has come from and take the number down that is being used by criminals. These are incredibly important to use as reporting tools. And where do we report fraud and cybercrime? Everything fraud and cybercrime needs to be reported to Action Fraud. They are the National Recording Centre for England, Wales and Northern Ireland. And there are a couple of key reasons that it's very important that you report. First of all, it helps to get you support as a victim or whoever you're reporting on behalf of. And then second of all, it helps to build the bigger picture. It helps us to understand what fraud types and cybercrimes are targeting members of our community so we can proactively raise awareness of fraud and cybercrime. Even if you haven't lost any money or you think it was really small, please do report. And if you've ever provided your banking details, please tell your bank as soon as possible so they can safeguard you. Thank you for listening. For more information about how to keep yourself safe online, please visit the Avon and Somerset Police website and look at the Keeping Yourself Safe Online information page.